Over the last 25 years, I've had the privilege of interviewing and highlighting some truly interesting people. Everyone who is anyone, both the famous and the infamous, from presidents and their first ladies to kings and queens, movie stars and pop stars, captains of industry, heads of state, sports personalities, innovative entrepreneurs, and some pretty fascinating everyday people. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Christine LePosa, a mental health professional and a licensed professional clinical counselor with a supervisory designation in the state of Ohio, who is passionate about serving children, adolescents, and families impacted by social, emotional, and behavioral health issues. That means you have a lot of work on your plate, ma'am. Welcome. I'm glad to be able to speak with you today.
Thank you so much, Miss Jones. Thank you for having me today.
So, Christine, when did you first decide to become involved in mental health counseling?
I initially decided to become a mental health counselor when I experienced the transformative process of counseling for myself. From my late teens into my early 30s, I engaged from time to time in a variety of different counseling services. And through these experiences, I learned that counseling can be a safe and caring place to identify, express, process difficult thoughts, feelings, and experiences that I had in order to reach healing, hope, and health. And after getting that gift from others, I wanted to give that gift back.
Very understandable. I mean, the whole price we pay for being on this earth is our ability to give back and service to others. But I'm curious, what kind of education and training did you undergo for your present role and literally what you would probably say is your life's calling?
Yes, I received a bachelor's degree in applied health science, followed by a master's of arts degree in counseling psychology. Then, through my graduate program, as a part of that program, I completed an internship where I provided a combination of both academic and social and emotional support to at risk youth in diverse schools in the Boston, Massachusetts area. From there, I went on to work as a staff therapist as well as an in home therapist. And also a behavioral health program coordinator at a community mental health agency in the state of Massachusetts. Here, I worked mostly with high risk, low income, and culturally diverse children and their families. And it was during that time that I achieved my license as a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Massachusetts. I then relocated to Northeast Ohio, where I currently live with my family. And there I became a licensed professional clinical counselor in that state. Later, I went on to earn a supervisory designation in clinical counseling so that I could supervise others who are pursuing their education and their degrees and licenses in that field. Then I worked as a social services provider, both in community mental health settings, group private practice settings, and hospital settings. And currently, my role is serving as the lead acute licensed counselor slash social worker at a behavioral health hospital in Youngstown, Ohio.
Mhm.
And I serve children primarily through the ages of 6 to 18 and do so both in their acute inpatient hospital setting as well as in their residential treatment center.
So, what kinds of services actually do you provide as a mental health counselor?
Typically, I provide a range of services. Those include everything from crisis management to performing various mental health assessments, creating and implementing multidisciplinary treatment plans, as well as working with an interdisciplinary treatment team. And then also providing various individual, group, and family based interventions to children and their families, as well as referring them to other services.
You know, Christine, I'm just thinking with the country just coming out of the pandemic, some of the vitriol that is in the public discourse, um, a lot of people, children especially, are in the middle of trauma. Um, and drama. You know, our Surgeon General recently came out with a report and a recommendation as it relates to youth and mental health. This is right up your alley. So I'm curious, what approaches to trauma informed care do you use in your work?
Trauma informed care is a broad term that encompasses a wide range of ways that all of us can support individuals and families whose lives have been impacted by trauma. And trauma can be defined as single significant events that take place in a brief moment in time, or they can be ongoing chronic events that occur over the course of time. Trauma is experienced by different people in different ways and impacts people in very different ways. But I would say the unifying principles in trauma informed care, those key principles, are establishing a sense of safety, building a trusting, caring, consistent relationship, and empowering people who have experienced trauma to have voice and choice in their own lives.
So it's really about allowing people to work through whatever the trauma is so that they can come out on the other side.
Absolutely. It's about creating a space, bearing witness to their experience, and holding their hand as they walk through that process.
I understand. In addition to your work professionally, I know that giving back to others and a participation in the community is important to you. Share what you enjoy doing and how you think it impacts our society.
Yes, I'm involved in a number of volunteer initiatives, both locally and afar. In my local church, I serve as a door greeter. I work in the child care center, and I also co-facilitate a small group. In addition to that, I serve on our missions committee, and I participated in a number of missions trips myself on the continents of both Africa and South America. And recently, I began coordinating and participating in a mentoring program for girls and women in the church. Outside of the church, I also serve in our local community through our Children's Services Bureau as a mentor. And then I also both provide financial support and other services to an organization that supports individuals all over the world who have parents who are currently incarcerated or family members, caregivers who are incarcerated. Specifically, I correspond via email on a regular basis with a young man who is in the country of Colombia right now. In addition to that, I also provide both financial assistance and other support to Christian-based organizations that work with individuals who have been impacted by human trafficking, as well as children in the foster care system.
And I know that your work really is aimed towards getting people to be whole and comfortable with themselves.
Yeah.
But if I were to ask you, what does success mean to you? How would you answer that? And how do you feel that you've actually achieved the level of success that makes you happy?
Yes, I think for me, success is all about using the God-given gifts, abilities, and passions that I have to fulfill a unique calling or purpose that involves serving other people. And I think I've achieved that primarily through growing in my Christian faith, relying on a very strong support system made up of family, friends, other professionals, and really just keeping my focus fixed on loving and serving God and others.
You know, Christine, it's so interesting that you have incorporated your faith in your professional life and the manner in which you give back to others. Um, I have been reading books, as I'm sure you have, for years on this whole concept of finding purpose. People have made it a cottage industry, but I've always felt in some way that we all have the same purpose, and that purpose is to serve.
Yeah.
Uh, our goal should be finding out what way we can each individually best serve. But the purpose is to be of service and leave the earth a better place than when you first came here.
I couldn't agree more.
So, what are your plans for the future? What's next?
In the future, I hope to, in some capacity, continue serving both children and families with mental health challenges, and specifically those who have been impacted through various forms of trauma. I hope to keep pursuing education, training, and different experiences in my field so I'm better equipped to do that work. And again, I want to stay open to different opportunities in different professional settings, volunteer settings, and mission fields, ranging from my local community all the way across the world, to put these things to use to be helpful to others.
So, in other words, keep serving.
That's correct. Yes, that's what truly brings me fulfillment.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Before we go, what is the one thing you'd like the viewer of this video feature to walk away with?
Yeah, I would say that we are all created to serve in a unique capacity, and it's so important to take the time to pause, reflect, and prepare to fulfill our purpose of loving and serving others.
I could not agree more. I am very active with the American Heart Association, and it's because I'm a heart disease survivor, having had open heart surgery just over a decade ago. And I came out of that experience, as I said, a survivor, but I also feel like a thriver. And the reason I've thrived is because I see it as my obligation to spread the word of heart health to other women so that they can live a fulfilled and healthy life. So you've inspired me today, and I think your story and your passion will inspire others.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
You got it.